Hello guys, welcome back to the questions and answers. I don't remember which episode it will be, but definitely it will be there in the title. I got many questions from you, but I selected the 10 which I found that I can answer and also that we can get the biggest benefit from them. So they are not super specific, also they are not super difficult. It's also interesting because other astrologers are getting questions like, what is the difference between Venus and Moon? Or what is the role of Venus in arranged marriage? Or what is when Venus is in 6th house or 7th house? But I'm getting questions like, tell me about the Rashmis and the degree strength of the aspects in the Dashamsa and this influence on the Raja Yoga, things like that. So, a bit different questions. Let's go to them. The first one is from Gauri Srivatsava 998. Are retrograde planet harmful? They refer to the data on completely other axis of the meaning. They are more referring to something like Chestabala, which means that the planet is trying to achieve something. So we can say that there is a very strong desire in those retrograde planets, and this is coming from the past life. Now, in this life, how we observed it manifests is that it is not easy to get the result, whatever the planet is showing in the chart. So we need to try more. Sometimes it's good for the character development or to get more fruits. And normally we can try like one time, it's not working, second time, and then after the third time, it is suddenly the result is achieved. The other thing is that the Vakri planets very strongly intersect with the other data, like the Bhava placement, and also being the Shubha or Papa, the benefic or malefic, and also the strand, the Bala. So we need to have in our planet placement table at least those 4 columns. We need to have a house, planet, of course. Is it benefic or malefic? Is it strong? And also the other type of, we can call it Avashta, would be the retrograde. It's not so called, it's really the Avashta, the retrograde, the Vakri movement. And then those data are going through different formulas. For example, one of them would be, is it good when the benefic is strong in the Dushtana? Or it's rather better when the malefic is strong in the Dushtana? Or it's better when malefic is strong in the Kendra? So we have some templates given by the rishis, because these are the, we could say, the data which we are starting from, the authority, the Shastra, Pramana. So, for example, in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, it's said that when the benefic, Jupiter especially, is exalted or strong in 8 or any Dushtana, we can broaden this to Dushtana, and it's a retrograde, and it's also additionally afflicted by other malefics, this is very, very bad. And also, I remember that I think Sanjay ji said that this is one of the worst or even the worst combination in the chart. And we can also understand the gravity of this placement from fact that this position is in the Sutika chapter, the birth circumstances, and it shows that with that yoga, the child may not survive. So we can understand that the retrograde here, checkpoint, right? Yes or no, the binary thing of retrogression. Is it retrograde or not? It very much depends on the other parts of the equation. Is it in Dushtana? Is it benefic? Is it strong? Is it afflicted? For example, if that benefic is retrograde in the Kendra and very strong, then usually in our school we say that the person may share the blessing with others, may even not keep to themselves a lot. This could relate to oversharing or meshing, the codependence or other such thing in the neighbor branch of psychology. So you can see the same retrograde, benefic, strong, but because of the placement in the house, the outcome is totally different. So this is one data in the equation, which definitely has a lot to do with how strong the planet wants to give its effects, right? So if it's negative, then it may also be more dangerous. Now, the second question is from the Ashwin Kumar 4, 3, 5, 8. For retrograde planets like Saturn and Jupiter, should we consider them in the previous house or in the same house? How strong are the aspects of retrograde planets? So I'm aware of this methodology about moving to the second or 12th, but we are not doing that. If anything, we would move it to the 7th house from its placement. And that's true, their aspect is very strong. In fact, this is one of the principal rules of the Vakri Avashta, of the retrograde motion, that their aspect is very strong. But this is all referring to what we discussed before about the Chestabala, which is related to the desire, that the planet want to achieve something very much because the results were denied at the first attempt. So one is developing the resilience and the determination. That is also usually the character features when the planet is related, for example, to Lagna Lord or sitting in some strategic position, which are related to our personality. Now the question is, for Narayana Dasha, does it apply to Navamsha? Yes, and this was secret for a long time, how to do it. And recently, in this year, we got a green light from our Guruji to teach this. And I've made a special lecture. You can access this. The link is in the description. And it's not only the Navamsha, but it works for all of our guys. I use it for many years now, since I learned this in the Jaimini course, in every reading. So it's quite powerful method. And if you like to get those principles, then the link is in the description. Now we have, if there are 2 planets in the 7th house of Navamsha. This is a question from Fit Monk, 3949. If there are 2 planets in the 7th house, Navamsha, 2 relationship come. What if there are 2 lords of 7th house in Navamsha? How many partners would come? This numbering principle is it's coming from the Shastra. It's also about the children number. And in the Prashna Marga, we got these principles also. Sometimes they're related to the Ashtaka Varga, which is contributed to that house in question. But we have to understand that in the Navamsha, every marriage has dedicated house. That is the beauty about the Navamsha. So 7th house is the first marriage, 8 from 7, which is second, is the second marriage, and so on. So we don't need to have some mixes and try to get all the marriages from the planet join, the aspects, and then guess which planet is which, like we do in the Rashi chart. So this is more related to the Rashi chart. And I have observed many, many interesting things from this. For example, even if person is married and there are 2 or 3 planets in the 7th house, then still the other person will be very much present in the life of the native. It is like a second relationship. It could be so strong, like it could be a friend, family member I have seen. So, because the Rashi chart will show the template to which the life will all the time be coming to. It's like some form of model positions. So if there are 2 planets in the 7th house, it's like having all the time 2 people in the relationship. Or at least sometimes it works. But I have seen those situations, therefore sharing this with you. The best method, according to me, is when it comes to numbering the children relationship and things like that, is the border which is created by the nodes axis. So if Rahu and Ketu are in the 1st and 7th, you will have 1 or maximum 2 super serious relationships. Because we have seen that in the Saptamsha, it works very nicely, the nodes rule, how many children the person will have. So also in the Navamsha, that would be much better, according to me, according to my experience, than this planetary number or Ashtaka Varga, things like that. In the Rashi, as I said, it will have a different connotation because the Rashi transcends, this is also my observation, the Rashi transcends all categories. So it's not related to, for example, the 4th house in the Rashi, it may show your office, it may show your ashram, because it shows we could call it psychological, because in the mind we are also transcending all those categories which are created in the real life, right? In the real life, our office and our ashram or our school, which are all in the fourth house but in different vargas, they are all different. They are different, they have different location, and we are going there in different time. But in our mind, we may feel at home when we are at ashram. So ashram can be our home, or second house is community. Our spiritual community, the second house in Vimshamsa, can be also something which we perceive as our main community. So whatever is in the Rashi, it's like some template to which the life will gravitate to. That's my observation how this works, also in the context of your question about the numbers. I like this questions and answers session. There is something different here than the normal YouTube videos. All right, we have then why some astrologers include Ketu and Rahu in Papakartari yoga and others not. I cannot speak for them, I don't know, but we are using the notes in the Papakartari. We are using all of the grahas for all of the yogas and yoga formations. So the notes have the equal rights to afflict. Don't take the right to afflict from Ketu. And the Papakartari affliction is quite strong, and because it can create the curse. And Papakartari basically means that you are under some pressure, and what can be compromised by this pressure may be seen by the middle ground. So if the middle ground is ascendant, if you have malefics in 2nd and 12th, then your truth may be compromised. So you may work for agency, which is related to marketing. Because in marketing, we are sometimes push what is the fact and what is already something else. So you may work for, you may be also representing the company, and you may state the facts. So there are many gray areas where you are really lying by the raw definition, but you would not admit, right? You will not say I'm a liar, because that is already so much ingrained in the tactics of the company that it's already somehow buried behind the strategies, marketing strategies, or other personal relationships, or it could be many, many things. So if malefics are doing the Papakartari on the Lagna, this is also, I think, coming from some Shastra, then the person is a liar. So the Shastra is much more raw in that statement. Next question is, what do you think about the astrology of people who are using the tropical zodiac, like Ernst Wilhelm or Vedic Astrology? Did you found in practice if it works? I like Vedic Astrology videos. He's doing them nicely. We also see that it's quite authentic, and he tried to educate people. Although I don't agree at his choice of the zodiac, but it's at least it's not the newspaper predictions. What will happen in May 2025 based on your ascendant sign? You will get a relationship in 25th of May with person coming from Spain, South Spain. He will come to you in the morning through friend. This will be blue car, and the friend will have red shirt. And this will be for all Taurus sign people. I think here the answer is tending towards the experienced related thing. It's something which, but you need to have some solid rules to research, because it's like in the logic, right? The logic is only applied as some formulas, but you need to have some material on which the formula work. So similarly here, you may do research, but if you don't have knowledge coming from tradition to know where to look and what that principle will give, it's also hard to do that research and find conclusion what will work. But from my experience, when I was dealing with Western astrology, because I started from Western astrology and then I went to the Vedic astrology, so I was already very familiar with what my chart shows in the Western paradigm of interpreting the planetary positions. And when I've included the dasha and the vargas, So I have in the software, for example, it was Jagannath Hora at the beginning, or then Shri Jyoti Star, and I have all of my events. And then I see the dasha to all the event. Like I went to mechanical engineering, then I switched to philosophy studies. Then I moved to Warsaw, then I moved to Germany. Then to each event I have this planetary placement, and I can see in the special Varga charts. For example, when I started mechanical engineering, my ninth lord Mars in the Navamsha chart was activated. So this means that the studies related to Mars, like engineering, and that was exactly in that ninth house thing. Then when I switched to philosophy, it was the Ketu, which is with Rahu, right? Rahu and Jupiter are related to philosophy. This is in the fifth house, so this is something which I will like. The nodes in the fifth house also may then form a hobby or very strong passions, like with the nodes, it is what astrology, things like that. So this will be something which I like. Whilst the Mars is in the Badaka, so this is something on the which I will find very foreign concepts. So I have seen that the Varga, the divisional chart related to education, so it's quite specific. We have to test this on very specific, falsifiable rules, which will tell us yes or no. If you don't have this yes or no rules, it's very hard to conclude anything if you are moving on those very gray areas. Like, for example, if you will compare the tropical zodiac to a Vedic zodiac based on the character, which is very relative and a very gray area thing and related to many dimensions. Like we have intelligence. There are many types of intelligence. Or you are sensitive. You can be sensitive in some topics. Some people will say you are sensitive in that time related to these areas. So this is very hard to compare. And something will click for one person and something will not click for the other. But if you have a dashas and if you have the falsifiable rules and if you have some ranges in time, then this is much more convincing. At least for me, when I have seen those periods in my life and I get to know about those Vedic rules, where to see those points which will get activated, I could justify all events in my life by the dasha, especially when I moved also from the Vimshotri to the Adana, because I have moon in 8th house, or to the Shodashotari, which was also quite nicely showing all of the, also the relationships, also the things like moving abroad. Even when I've got my dog, right, in July in last year, it was exactly a few days after when Mercury Antardasha started in the Adana. And Mercury is in the fourth is about the pets. I didn't, now you have to trust me, I didn't look for that time when I'm adopted, Jackie, but it was exactly 3 days after the Dasha started. When I see such things which are very repeatable and falsifiable, so it can be, the answer can be yes or no, and also the rules to arrive at that yes or no conclusion are quite clear, then it is much convincing for me than the other. So through that experience with the Dashas and Vargas, I've concluded that also the Ayanamsha is correct, because at the higher Vargas, those positions are returning the proper data. And therefore, when I know this, then if that is so perfect system, and then when I would go to the tropical, everything will go somewhere else, to the different houses, to the whole system will collapse. There is also theory that this may work for psychological things, because this is related to the tropical zodiac is in the Vishnu Purana also. In our tradition, we say it's more for the rain predictions and also for the seasons. So we could stretch the seasons related to mind. Some are saying, okay, mind is psychology. So therefore, it also can show that. But again, according to me, the psychology, I'm also quite satisfied with the Nirjana zodiac, with the star zodiac to show all those aspects. So I would also not go for Sayana for those psychology or mental things. So I think this is the one. We have the correct one. All right, that was the big answer. Now we have, if Jupiter is just Atmakaraka, which dasha is to be seen? I forgot what you taught. This Jupiter thing as Atmakaraka doesn't move any needle when it comes to choice of the dasha, but we have ruled that if Atmakaraka is dispositor of your moon, then congratulations, because It means that if you have this position, if your Atmakaraka is ruling the moon, for example, moon is in Aries and Mars is your Atmakaraka, then you have a new dasha, which will be much more accurate than the standard Vimshotri to try. The next question is, if 12 from Atmakaraka in Navamsha is Saturn, Taurus, but has Parivartana with moon, who is the Devata? The previous one was asked from Bharat Ras, my student also, and this is coming from Sage King 8-8. So we don't use Parivartana for such things, for such heavy things, which are not moving so easily like Atmakaraka or the Devatas. So still we would use the original Atmakaraka and see the 12th house from the placement. But we can use the Parivartana as a yoga if the 12th, for example, if you are deciding the Ishta Devata, which is in 12 from Karakamsha, we can use to define better the Devata, for example. You can take 2 planets and get more accurate form of the Devata for the Ishta. The next question is, can you explain in detail the significance of Pratyantar Dasha? This is the 9th question, and this is coming from Flaco Fluarte 7. So I think that the best way to understand is that the Pratyantar Dasha is showing the event, Antar Dasha, the sub-period is showing the interaction with others, society, because it's the moon archetype, and Mahadasha is us, our soul, Atmakaraka, sun archetype. So the Pratyantar Dasha is what is happening, the event itself. So therefore, we are, for example, using that for events, like getting new job, 5th Lord in the Dashamsa. If you have a good Dasha, you can also test which Dasha will work based on that. 5th house, 5th Lord will get activated whenever you have new job. So get a chart when the person got like 20 jobs or 10 jobs. I had those charts. Then if you will take the conditional dashas like Shatabdika or Dvisaptati, it will be very, very accurate all the time, activating the 5th house, 5th Lord, dispositor of the 5th Lord. So then you can also test, yes, this is a good dasha. If it didn't fail 20 times in the past, then I can depend on it for the future predictions. Okay, the last question is about the career seeing from Ashwini Kumar again. I've already made a video on that. You can check. The title is Determining One's Profession. And the whole methodology is there using the Rashi, Navamsha, Dashamsa, which points to check. I'm using some additional tricks and tips from the courses, from my Guruji teachings, to even exclude the groups of options farther. But this methodology, which I've laid down in that video, will already give you a quite good starting point. It is also, we could say, the fruit of my learning, right? Because in the process of learning, we are testing the principles. We are testing, is Karana showing your job, right? Because the Karana is showing some aspects of your job. Amatya Karaka is also showing some aspects of your job. 10th Lord will also show something about your job. Like 10th Lord, now we know it is showing how you will work, right? So it will not show what you do, but how you will work. So there are many principles in the chart. All is referring to some aspect of your work. But you can get the idea, the notion, what it's showing, either by your research or by this generational knowledge from your teacher, because there were already astrologers working on that for decades. So you are not starting from the scratch, you're already starting from some point. We are continuing the research. So the Karana, the Amatya Karaka is showing something, but it will not decide really what you will do. Right, so 10th house from the moon is quite good candidate. In the Dashamsa, the planets will show the exact responsibility you have. Also, what will be the form of that? How you will do it? Will it be through freelance or business? Things like that. The Aruda Lagna will also be very, very important. Also very reliable. So in this video, I'm giving the rules which I find reliable, showing depicting what the person will do. And also based on the Navamsha, we can then see what is best for you to do. Because there may be some karmic pushing. The karma can push you into something, but it will not be the best for you. Like I remember, I have a Saturn 6th Lord in my chart, in my Dashamsa, and I was always wondering, will I be doing some physical work in my life? And yes, I did. I was doing for some time. I was working in the shop. It was quite physical work. And this is related to that Saturn. But is it something which I like? Is it my destiny? Based on the Navamsha, you can see what the soul is really want to do, what is the focus, and all the nice tricks you can get from the Navamsha. Again, gray areas. For example, there are jobs which can give you money, but you will not like to do them, right? Should we, as astrologer, should we push the person for those jobs? This is also the discussion part. Okay, so this was the 10th one, I hope. Maybe we'll continue from the list. I have a few more there. So thanks a lot. Also, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It promotes this video to the audience here. And subscribe for more like this. Thank you for being here with me on this channel. Thank you for all of the questions. And if you have any variation to those, then please write them in the comments. And yeah, if you'd like to see another session like this, then please consider watching this one.